all the games I used to play in my younger, wilder days. The game of clubs and tees, it never crossed my mind. But after some discussion with my closest, dearest friends, I decided that I'd give it one good try. That was my first.
Welcome in to another episode of the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast. My name is Andrew Putters. I'm here with my buddy Joe Nicely. And here we go. Just around, week 2, we're already in the major season. We got 7 majors this year, so why not go ahead and get it out of the way in week 2. Big tournament coming up, US Open. But first, let me talk about one of the legends of the game in my mind. I can't even say it with a straight face. Let's just talk about a vet.
The well-deserved victory lap.
Let's just talk about a vet I've been talking about for about 15 straight weeks now. Of a guy you got to have in a few of your lineups every week because he's going to be 6,000 to 6,500 week in, week out. Stuart Sink, without his regular caddy on the bag, he had his backup or his son, oldest son. I don't know how old he is. Looked like he was probably in college. Had a little downtime due to COVID. Had him on the bag. Took it down. Took it deep on the weekend. Deep. What was it? 21 under total? 4 rounds. Is that right, Joe?
So. Yeah, I think he buried the last to get to 21.
There you go. Fending off one of Joe's boys, Doc Redmond, along with an up-and-comer. I feel like probably going to be one of the nation's favorite golfers, Harry Higgs, with
love it, baby. Love Higgs.
The true athletic specimen he is. But anyway, so Stuart Sink takes down the Safeway Open. You got to have some vets splashed into your DFS lineups every week. Maybe not the center of them, but they got to be splashed in. So let's get to personal life. How you doing, Joe? What did you have going on this weekend? No golf for you this weekend?
Doing good, man. No, took a weekend off. The member guest over at the Brook didn't play in that this year, so took the weekend off. Just kind of hung out with the family, caught up. Watched a lot of football Sunday. Didn't watch much college football Saturday, but watched a ton of NFL football Sunday. Watched the Red Zone. That was pretty much it, man. Just kind of a real casual, easy weekend for me here at the Nicely house.
Yeah. I think weather's starting to turn. We're looking at highs in the 70s coming up starting Thursday in East Tennessee. Best part of the year. Obviously golf season's awesome. Summertime's awesome. Getting in the pool's great. But when we get into cooler weather, leaves change in East Tennessee, that's kind of what we're known for. It's time for chili and football, cool weather. So, and you said you didn't watch much college. That's because the real college football hadn't even started yet, Joe.
It's right, baby.
Football, baby.
That's right.
For me, it was, let's see here, Saturday. I don't know if I did anything. I think I did some yard work maybe some much-needed chore. Oh, I cleaned out the old fridge this weekend. We had maybe a possible baby scare this morning. Weren't sure if you were going solo or maybe having –
I thought I was going to have to either go solo or call in some backup. I thought we were in baby mode today.
Yeah.
Just any time at the poorhouse, it sounds like.
Anytime, any moment. We'll be 39 weeks tomorrow. She's already measuring way past 30 weeks. So any moment we could literally have a water breakage, and I could be on the road somewhere traveling for work. So
might see a delivery on the turn tonight.
Yeah. Talking about picking up some viewers, by gosh, had to pick them up. So, yeah, no personal golf stories to go at you this week. We were probably still settling down from our back-to-back victories and the Labor Day scramble. What else did you pick up from Safeway this weekend, Joe? Anything?
Not much, man. Pretty well what we expected. We were kind of talking last week about veterans versus young guys, and you kind of fell on the side of the vets, and I kind of fell on the side of the young guys, and we saw really just a mixture of the two. We saw Sink up there. Kevin Strillman came on, did well, but we also saw guys like Doc Redmond Higgs, Sam Burns, another player, young player that's got a bright future that I was on last week. That's about it, man. Not a ton to take away from that. Great win for Sink. Good to see him get that. Good to see those young guys up there battling. Higgs is a ton of fun. So not a huge takeaway. Not a lot of guys to kind of evaluate for this week, the U.S. Open. Not a ton of guys playing last week that will be playing this week. Had a couple in there that we'll maybe touch on, but yeah, no big takeaways. It was a tough event, man. Just a tough event from a DFS perspective. We knew that there were going to be a lot of volatility. Knew it'd be tough to connect on lineups, and it was, at least for me personally. Had a bunch of 5 out of 6s. And it was just kind of one of those forgettable weeks. But we got one coming up that has the potential to be a memorable one. A really great field. Lots of guys playing well right now. Going to a classic golf course at Winged Foot, man. I'm pumped for this one.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it since we were talking about the U.S. Open. We'll have plenty to talk about. So this year's U.S. Open obviously delayed from Father's Day weekend to now. It's going to be part of the 2021 season as far as points goes. It's going to be played at Winged Foot Golf Club. Winged Foot Golf Club is designed in 1923 by A.W. Tillinghast. We're going to be playing the West course this weekend. They can play up to 72-64, par 70. This is a legendary designer of golf clubs. He designed Baltusrol and Bethpage. This golf course is just it's pretty much a who's who of golf courses as far as classic events. It's held 1 PGA. This is the 6th U.S. Open, 2 U.S. Women's Opens, 2 U.S. AMs, 1 U.S. Senior Am. The last U.S. Open it hosted was the infamous 2006 Nobody Wants to Win Jeff Ogilvy champion at +5. An absolute brutal golf course that week. I can remember it very vividly. 3 or 4 straight players coming down the stretch, 150 yards out on 18. All you got to do is knock on the green and 2-putt. And we had anywhere from Jeff Ogilvy was the only one to make par of the 4 or 5, I think it was, and came away with the victory. Colin Montgomery gassed it from literally, I mean, one of the worst 8 irons from the middle of the fairway I've ever seen in my life. Obviously, the most recognizable, Phil Mickelson with the little triple. Was it
Still
triple?
hurts. Still hurts.
All he had to do was make double to get in the playoff, bogey to win.
Par to win, bogey for playoff.
Double bogey.
Didn't get there.
Yeah, hit it. He hit it 50 yards left off the tee. Then he hit an 8 iron that hit the tree right away. It was just abysmal. I saw an interview he did referencing it this week already about he still thinks about that. This was definitely the one that got away. There were several he had opportunities to win. This is the one that he should have. I mean,
this one was definitely his for the taking. A lot of the other ones, you can argue if he lost them or other guys won them. This is one he had in the bag, the one that he's supposed to win, one that he gave away. So, yeah, man, it's got to be just some brutal feelings kind of coming back for Phil this week, you have to imagine.
Absolutely. Golf course, how we seeing it going to shape up? What's Josh got us online? I don't want to give too much away from Rotoballer, but our man Josh, week in, week out, bangs out a course review. I mean, the general stuff. We know there's going to be deep rough. I shared a tweet the other day where the ball went straight to the bottom. This gnarly fescue rough. What else are we seeing from it? Anything?
Yeah, man, I think it's going to Gil Hans did a redesign, or not really a redesign, but just kind of a freshen up. I think it's going to play a little over 74 this week. Is what it's going to card out. They trimmed some trees back that aren't going to be in play quite as much. But yeah, man, what we need to know is this golf course is going to be very, very difficult. It's long, like you said. The rough is very, very thick. Fairways are very narrow. It's going to play firm and fast, we have to believe. The greens are sick. A lot of back to front slope, a lot of contours in these greens, a lot of runoffs, false fronts. Basically, it's one of the hardest courses you're ever going to see these professional guys play. And I fully expect the winning score to be over par this week. I might be wrong about that. We've seen these guys play excellent golf with no fans out on the course since the restart. So maybe they'll surprise me, but I fully expect this one to be over par.
Yeah, I could. Just seeing the video of that rough alone, you ain't gonna be able to get a club on that. I don't really know much about the course personally, but 5 over last time, and you turn the screws on Sunday, anything can happen as far as how far over par you want it to go. We saw a little bit of weight, just at the Memorial, how they can make the course so hard it's nearly unplayable. That was mainly with the firmness of the greens along with the heavy rough. But if they make these greens real firm, I could see over par for sure. Getting into the golfers, DraftKings, they helped us out with putting the pricing out a little early. I'm going to start at the top 4. DJ, Rahm, JT, Rory. Those are your heavyweighters. Those are your heavyweight fighters, as we would call. That's the main event card, week in, week out. How is Colin Morakowa not a heavyweight at this point in his career?
I think he's getting there. What's he priced at 10?
He's at 10.
Yeah, and you got Xander there at 10-1. So I mean, I think he's up there. He's working his way up there. Those kind of 4 at the top, I think, are well deserving to be up there. Obviously, Brooks Koepka is not in this field, but you have to imagine he would be up there as well. And those are the 5 guys I feel like that have earned the respect and kind of the right to be up there at the top of the board in these majors. So not a ton of surprises. A little surprised to see Xander there at 10-1. I think you could argue maybe he and Morikawa could be flip-flop, but it's $100, not a huge deal. But yeah, man, to dive in, love all these guys. I mean, how do you not? Obviously, DJ up at the top is my favorite this week. I think he's got a great chance to win this golf tournament. Won the U.S. Open in 2016. That's his only major. He's played extremely well in U.S. Opens throughout his career, though. Had some brutal finishes. We were talking about Phil earlier. DJ's had some rough ones too, man. So he won the FedEx Cup. Comes in a ton of positive momentum. So you have to feel like things are headed his way. We know that when he's going well, he kind of continues to go well. So I really love his game on this golf course. He's long. The harder the course, the better for him. Nothing seems to bug him. Short game's been good, been putting terrific. So yeah, man, DJ, I feel like, is the favorite, and probably one of the best plays on the board, if not the best. What do you think about DJ this week? He's kind of been the talk of the town. So what are your thoughts on him?
I mean, I just don't see how you don't say he's the favorite. The golf course sets up perfect for his game against the field. The longer and the harder. I mean, he's a par machine on these huge par 4s, right? I mean, he get 480-yard par 4 and a 380-yard par 4 doesn't mean that big of a difference for him. I know you're hitting a lob wedge versus, say, chip shot versus, maybe a pitching wedge. I don't know. If he can hit the fairway, he's a tactician. I mean, he hits his iron so good. And he's probably the most Tiger-like golfer we have seen since 05. When Tiger dominated 05, 06. Because Tiger dominated so much with the irons, and that's how Dustin dominates as well. So I'll say he's not. Closest person, in my opinion, to his game is JT. JT gets hot with the putter. Anything can happen because he hits it so straight and so far. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think those top 3 guys, DJ, Rahm, and JT, are all excellent plays and should be considered the favorites this week, which obviously are according to Vegas. But just from kind of the general public looking in, I think those 3 you're not really going to go wrong. JT's kind of everything you're looking for in a professional golfer. I mean, he really has no weaknesses to his game. He's long. He's great off the tee. Unbelievable iron player. One of the best on tours. Very solid short game. The only thing with JT is his putter can run hot and cold, which, I mean, we can say that of anybody, but it does seem to affect his results when he's got a cold putter. We've seen that a little bit since he won in Memphis. That's been his downfall as of late is his putter. So you have to feel like if he can get that going this week, he likes to put on POA. So if he can get that going this week, he'll be right in the mix there. Rahm, I'm usually not super duper high on in U.S. Opens, but I'm kind of coming around on him, man. Definitely long enough. We know he does well on long par fours. And what's really impressed me is his short game lately. We saw him play really, really well around the greens, both at the Memorial that he won, the BMW that he won. Those were both very, very tough setups, which is kind of what we're going to be facing this week. So Rahm's really impressed me. I'm a little more on him than I thought I would be, but I like his length and I like his short game and I like his ability to make par on these tough courses. And that's what it's going to come down to this week, man. This ain't the Safeway. This ain't the Travelers. It ain't TPC Boston. Par is going to be an excellent number this week. And these guys that have the ability to just grind these pars out, stay focused, that's who I'm looking at, man, grinders. We want pars. Obviously, birdies are great, but these guys that are going to make a birdie and then make two doubles, they're not going to get anywhere this week. So those three at the top, you can throw Rory in there, even though his form's not great. But yeah, I think they're the clear-cut favorites this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Rory's game is nowhere consistent-wise that you can get on board. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Slide down a little bit. You got Xander, Morikawa, DeChambeau, Simpson. Very interesting right there because Xander is like he's just a grinder. He does everything well. He seems like he's always around the top 10. Maybe the overall victories aren't there, but he does not shy away from pressure whatsoever. We know we've already mentioned Morikawa, who does literally everything well. Hits his irons great, hits his driver straight, streaky with the putter. Whenever he's on, he's tough. Already bagged the PGA last month. DeChambeau, a lot of hype around him. And like we've talked about in the past, the most underrated golfer on the tour. Maybe this course doesn't set up well for him, Webb Simpson. So out of those four, maybe, we can't go with Simpson because of the distance, but DeChambeau, I don't know. But the Xander, Morikawa, you got to love.
Yeah, man, I absolutely love especially Xander. I feel like he's just a razor-thin margin below those top three guys, honestly, in my opinion, this week. If we take Brooks Koepka out of the equation, Xander has been the best player in the U.S. Open the last 3 years. Played unbelievably well, got 3 top 6 finishes the last 3 years in the U.S. Opens. He loves hard golf courses. He said so publicly, that they kind of hold his attention a little bit better. He's doing everything really well right now. Like you said, he's not – the wins haven't been there yet, but you feel like it's coming because he keeps putting himself in position. Got an excellent short game, really good off the tee, good iron player, can make putts. Really love Xander this week. And if you want to classify him in that second tier, he's by far my favorite. Morikawa, I love his ability off the tee, very accurate, which is going to be a huge deal this week. And his iron play always gives him a chance. My concern with him is his short game. And by a short game, I mean around the green, putting. These are very, very tricky greens. And we know that can be kind of his weakness, is chipping and putting. So that's my concern with Morikawa, even though I love him tee to green. Love his mental game. I think he's built for tournaments like this and courses like this. Bryson, I am out. Not getting there with him this week. The irons are just off, and his short game is not good enough to make up for where his irons are right now, in my opinion. Obviously, his length's an advantage, but if he's missing fairways, missing greens, I just don't see him. There's just not many paths that I see to him having a strong week this week. And Webb, I really love. Like you said, the lack of length is a concern. The guy hits fairways. The guy hits greens. This is going to be a grinder type of track. Great short game, great putter. So, yeah, definitely love Webb also.
Yeah. I think this week, building lineups, this is just me. This is the U.S. Open thoughts coming out of my head. I think you're going to be more of rounding your lineups in with vets, with the youth kind of splashed in, where I know your normal way of thinking on building is building with youth and splashing vets in. I think in the U.S. Open style, you got to think like guy makes 15 pars, a birdie, and 2 bogeys, done well. And so I'll be favoring the vets in every way I can. Somebody like I know we're jumping. I'm jumping through a lot of players here, but somebody like I don't want to say Jason Day because I think we've missed out on that window.
And I was planning on talking about Jason. I think you can go ahead and talk about Jason Day.
Yeah, I think we've missed that window on him. I don't know why.
If he's going to play well, this is the type of track that he can do it on.
BMW. Well, I guess he did shoot 68 in the final round, but last time we saw him was the BMW, missed the cut in the Northern Trust, and that was coming off a plethora of great finishes, which included the let's see here, we had Workday tied for 7th, Memorial tied 4th, FedEx tied 6th, PGA tied 4th. That was your window, I feel. PJ was kind of what you've been saying the whole time, really tough golf courses. He putts good. But then he went right back out to the Northern and missed the cut on a golf course that should have favored him, I think. So
yeah, his irons have been off since the PGA. I'm not sure why. I think he parted ways with his longtime coach, and it's working really well for him there for a while, but hasn't looked the same since the PGA. But I'm still intrigued, man. I want to keep an eye on Day's ownership. If it's really low, I'm going to throw him in some lineups just because if you watch that PGA, he got up and down absolutely from everywhere. That was the Jason Day short game that we know. And that's going to be huge this week. I can't stress enough how much more weight I'm giving to short game this week versus normal weeks. When also I very rarely weighted at all. Given a huge lane to short game this week. So immediately Jason Day comes to mind. Like you said, man, these veterans, I trend young, but I'm with you this week. I'm looking at these vets, man, that can grind, go out there and make pars, that play smart, that know how to handle these type of courses, that know a couple bogeys in the end of the day, in the end of the tournament, that are able to hang in there. So, yeah, man, if we're ever going to bring Jason Day up, I think this is the kind of course we can do it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you in that train of thought. I just feel like for some reason that window we've missed it. I don't know why. I guess maybe the last 2 outings.
Yeah, I hear you. Had a really great opportunity there at the PGA, and he played well. He didn't really do anything to lose that golf tournament. Colin Morakowa just won it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, maybe we got a little window there of good play, good crisp ball striking, and that might have kind of went by the wayside. But, I definitely think he's somebody you can consider this week. Another guy kind of right there in that range that I've talked about a lot is Daniel Berger, who's just kind of he's not an older veteran, a younger guy, but he's kind of got that grinded out mentality. Cantley as well. We've not seen the recent form from Cantley, which is just really hard to figure out, man. If you would have asked me at the start of this year, at the start of 2020, before all this stuff happened, I would have told you Patrick Cantley would be one of my favorites at Winged Foot, just because of his style of play and the way this course is going to really test these guys. But, man, the form has just not been there for him. He's not been terrible, but things just aren't fully clicking for him. He should be one of our favorite plays on this layout, but his price hadn't really went down, even though he's not been posting great results. He's still priced up there pretty strongly, despite not being in great form. So, I mean, it's one of those things. I think Cantley's probably going to be against the grain a little bit. But, you know, that he has a chance to play well on this type of golf course. You got any thoughts on Berger and Cantley?
I think that's the most intriguing price difference of the whole tournament, is that one of those two guys is going to be right there in the top five. So whichever one that you pick is going to propel you into an opportunity. I don't know which one it is. I probably would lean towards Berger just because of form, and he's $200 cheaper than Cantley, but I love Cantley. I know you've been a fan of him forever. I mean, he was the it guy coming out of college. So I like Berger though of those two. If you held a gun to my head, I'm taking Berger.
Well, we talked about Day, and we talked about Cantley and Berger. What about those guys? That's a real sweet spot. It feels like you got Tony Finau in there, who's been amazing in major championships, who plays long, hard courses very, very well, plays long par fours very, very well. His short game's been solid. We know he's got plenty of length. I really like Tony Finau there. And we can also throw Hideki Matsuyama in that mix, a guy that you talked about there before the BMW, and he played really, really well on kind of a U.S. Open-like course. And Fleetwood, I'm a little surprised to see him at this price. I was on him in the PGA. Had one good round there, and the rest were mediocre at best. But we know that he can go low on really, really hard golf courses. We talked about that before the PGA. It's one of the things we like about him in majors. And he played really, really well in Europe last week. Had I think a T3 or T2 in Portugal on a very, very tough golf course. So what do you think about those guys right in there, man? It feels like a sweet spot.
Yeah. I just feel like, and of course we don't know whoever has a chance to win, but you got to throw that Tony Finau, if he's going to finish in the top three, let's just say, or have a chance to win, he's going to at some point on Sunday take a three-shot backward step because he just hasn't been able to close the door on Sundays. So I mean, he's got 8 top 10s, makes cuts. It's going to be a hard, long golf course. He should play well. Matsuyama, it just depends on what his putter does. Fleetwood, we haven't seen it yet out of him. We've seen like a few rounds here and there, but not a full tournament together.
Yeah.
But it seems like the harder the golf course, the better the guy plays. Tiger obviously hasn't shown us anything yet since the restart. Adam Scott literally might be the worst putter I've ever witnessed in person.
When you've got Adam Scott in your roster, man, it is tough to watch him putt sometimes. It's brutal to sweat him when you've got him in your lineups and he's standing over like a 4-footer.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something that really scares me. Not scares me, but like you can miss him. At some point, Justin Rose is going to finish third place in the U.S. Open or a Masters or something, and he just continues to play awful. Finished 9th in the PGA. Played pretty decent, I think, a couple of weeks later at the Northern Trust. These type of grinded out courses, he seems to play a little better on.
I think you can throw Patrick Reed in that bucket as well. Kind of with those grinder type guys like Justin Rose. We know Reed can be inconsistent, and statistically, I look at stats every single week, and I cannot figure out Patrick Reed. So I pretty much just give up. And I'm going to make him a gut call, but I kind of like him this week, man. I just really like his short game. We know how great he can go out there and grind. Can get up and down from anywhere. One of the best short games in the world. So there's nothing statistically that I can say, hey, this is why you should be playing Patrick Reed, but I just know the type of player he is. I'm not a huge fan of his personally, but when we take that out of the equation and we're just talking DFS, I think he's a really intriguing play this week. And Rose as well. He's been frustrating to me. I seem to always get him wrong lately. But I definitely think he's the type of guy that could go out there and, just make 16 pars, a birdie and a bogey, and be sitting there with a chance on Sunday, he could definitely get himself in contention.
Yeah, I think since Scotty Scheffler's out in that price range, that it kind of opens all these other guys up of what ifs. Probably everybody would have been rostering him instead of all these guys we've been mentioning, just because he's played so well over the last 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Hatton right there is interesting, right below where Scheffler is. Had some good U.S. Open finishes. Had a couple of poor finishes there. The WGC missed the cut at the PGA, which kind of got a lot of people off him. His price hadn't really moved. But if you look at his ball striking numbers, man, he's continued to strike the ball well. Just had a couple bad putting weeks. And he's that type of, English grinder that we're looking for. Really solid short game, really solid iron player. Kind of reminds me of Webb Simpson a little bit. Not a ton of length, which is kind of concerning, but like how he hits fairways and greens, like how he's able to grind. So I think Hatton is a really interesting play there at 81.
Yeah, his distance does definitely bother me on this course. I mean, he hits his irons good though. So, we're putting Hovland in every lineup, right? Come on.
I don't know, man. This might be the week I might have to hit the eject button.
Getting the eject on your board.
I love him. I love Hovland. He's my guy, but man, I am just so concerned about his short game, and the ball striking's not been great. If you look at his numbers, I mean, that's what we always hang our hat on Victor, right? He's an unbelievable ball striker. Great tee to green, and he's just not been at the level we saw there initially after the restart when he was just killing it. And couldn't make a putt, but was killing it tee to green. And now he's actually been putting okay, but the ball striking hadn't been as good. But even that being the case, I'm concerned about his short game. I know he's improving. I know it's something he's really working on. But I really do think that's going to be a key factor this week, is the ability to get up and down. So I'm concerned about that. I mean, I'll have some Hovland, but I'm not where I normally am with him, even though I love him.
I got you. Gary Woodland's interesting. Oosthuizen, very interesting.
Oosthuizen, I like Oosty a lot. I'm glad you brought him up. He's probably my favorite play in that mid 7K range, which normally in majors, I don't know about you, but normally in majors, that mid 7K is kind of my sweet spot. I can usually pick out 3 or 4 guys that I really, really like in that range, usually on a major championship slate. Not really the case for me this week. I don't know how well you've looked at that range, but maybe you can kind of give me your thoughts. But Oosthuizen jumped out. He's played really, really well lately, played great tee to green. We know he comes to play in majors, poses best surface, fabulous short game, experienced. Just a ton that I like about Louis Oosthuizen this week. I don't often play him, but I played him at the BMW, and I was kind of shocked at how low owned he was. I imagine he'll be a little more popular this week. People seem to like playing him in majors, but he jumped out to me down there. Is there anybody that you are in love with there in that mid 7K range?
The only one that I'm okay with Wolf. I'm okay with Brendan Todd. Okay with Woodland to an extent. Other than that, for me to have any comfort whatsoever, and I don't even like it because he broke my heart on 18 in the PGA, and that's Henrik Stinson. He's got a great short game, but we don't know. There's no way of us knowing where his mind is in golf just because he hasn't played a lot.
Right.
He's not big on social media, so we can't hone that in. I mean, maybe he's playing 27, 36 holes a day. I don't know, but the next guy that really sticks out to me, and this is major championship only, and it has nothing to do with his short game. It's just if he gets hot with a putter and his irons, he has done well in majors in the past. That's Martin Kaymer.
Oh, I know you're going to say it. I love it.
Martin Kaymer.
You're in sync this week, baby. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Probably.
Kaymer, we're on the same wavelength. I love it, man. He's played really well. He popped there at the PGA in the first round. Had a shot like 66, I think, or something in the opening round of the PGA, and then pull the full Keegan and miss the cut, but he's teed it up a couple times over in Europe and has a T3 and a T2, I think, in his last 2 starts over in Europe just recently. So we know he wins a major about every 5 or 6 years, and it's coming back around. He's played well in U.S. Opens. So, yeah, man, I like Keimer maybe more than I should, but I'm with you on it, man. I'm almost like from Hatton at 81, like dropping down to Usti and maybe a little bit of Wolf, just because I like his explosiveness, length, played well on tough courses before, even though he's super young. And then from like Wolf and Oosthuizen, I'm almost comfortable dropping down to like Keimer. It's pretty gross, but another play I like is Siwoo at 72. Hated him last week, like him this week. I think he's maybe, you could argue, maybe a little bit underpriced just because he's so good tee to green and so good around the greens. Won the Players, so we know he's a world-class talent, can handle this type of course. Played well in the PGA, almost won at the Wyndham. So he's scary. He's not a guy you want to bet the farm on, but I like Siwoo down there with Keimer.
Yeah, other than, like I said, Stinson, I have a hard time with anybody. Siwoo Kim, I can understand it just because he hits it. I mean, he's got a good game. It's just consistency's kind of been his issue.
He's a GPP play, or something where you're trying to take down a big field, big GPP. But I like his upside, man. I mean, it feels like he's maybe got top 10 upside and there at 7,200. I mean, obviously he can miss the cut, but has really played well since the restart. I think he's ran off 8 or 9 straight made cuts. I mentioned the Wyndham and the PGA where he was up near the top of the board. His irons have looked great, much improved. And I love his short game. So I think he's, in a vacuum, when we take out kind of the biases that we have, we know how streaky he is. Probably burned a lot of us before, but I think he's a good play at 7,200. So I'll definitely have some Siwoo, and like you said, I'll have some Keimer there at 71.
Okay, so dropping down, we'll get down. Let's get 77,000 and lower. I'm gonna throw 3 names out there. These are my favorite 3 picks under 71 or under 7,000, and one of them's really gonna surprise you, and it's not Stuart Sink. So I'm going to throw 3 names out. First one, this guy is probably his best year on tour in his career. 5 top 10s.
I can already name one of them.
5 top 10s. He had the amazing round, the final round of the PGA to get our boy Brent back on track. Like I said, best year of his career without a win probably, and that's Ryan Palmer. The golf course is not set up for him, but it doesn't seem like it matters what golf course it is. He's in there grinding.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's the first name.
Okay.
Another guy that has not been phased this year whatsoever, and I've just kind of learned about him here recently, and that's the international blood from Colombia, Sebastian Munoz.
Like it.
We were kind of waiting for him to go away this year, and he hasn't. So
he's actually gotten stronger.
He's actually trending
started, man. He's picked it up.
Trending up. Made a lot of money this year.
Yeah, man. Had a great swing season. Then kind of drifted there in the middle part of the year, and then he's played really well throughout these playoffs, man. So I like Munoz as well. It's a good call.
Last player, he's not a grinder that we know of. However, we maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we thought he was taking over the world, and it just kind of fell on his face after he had a couple of top 5 finishes early in his career when he moved over to the States. I think he's back now in Europe playing. Thomas Peters. This is your big-time gamble play, in my opinion, but he's played strictly on the European Tour this year for whatever reason. I know he was living in Florida at one time. I don't know now, but
I really like his game. I really like his physical tools. I'll worry about him mentally in the U.S. Open, holding it together. He's a bit of a head case. I kind of worry about him holding it together for 72 holes at Winged Foot, but can't argue with his physical tools. He actually should be a great fit here. I was kind of worried about him, the mental side of his game, more so than the physical.
Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of guys that, who knows? I mean, anybody down here could. I mean, Bizant or Duncan could finish in the top 10. Heck, even Lucas Glover could finish in the top 10.
You didn't say the name I thought you were going to say, unless that's going to be your guy later or something.
No,
So I'm going to go ahead and say who I would have bet you would have said.
Okay.
Lee Westwood.
No, I would not do that to you, Joe.
I almost thought for sure you're gonna bring Westwood up, man. he's an Andrew type of guy. He's a grinder, veteran, experienced, European. So I mean, he's right down your lane, man. I could maybe grab a little bit of Westy this week. We know he's not gonna win. He's never won a major, but could definitely see him playing well. Just going out there and grinding out pars.
No, I couldn't do that to you, Joe. I mean, I kind of thinking like Brandon Wu possibly, but I don't know. He's not showed his true potential yet.
There's a couple guys I like down here. There's no all-in guys for me down here this week, but there's some guys that I'll definitely have some GPP exposure to. One of them is a guy I was on at the BMW, and I think I sent you a text on Thursday. Played absolutely horrible. Jason Kokrak. And then fought all the way back. He showed me a lot of toughness that week. Fought all the way back. I think he was right at borderline 80 in the opening round, and fought all the way back there in the BMW to finish tied for 8th. Like his length. Like his ability to hit driver, like his ability to hit his irons, and I don't think the length's going to be a problem for him this week. And he showed some mental toughness there in Chicago. So I'm gonna call Jason Kokrak out there at 68. Another guy who's kind of a grinder, kind of always seems to fly on the radar. Basically came out of nowhere a couple of years ago, but has put together a really impressive season, and has played really well as of late through the playoffs is Lanto Griffin, who I feel like is a tremendous value down there. I believe he's at 66. I'm not sure if I'm right on that, but I think Lanto's at 66 and has played some good, solid golf, man. He's going to hit fairways, going to hit greens, solid short game, can grind out pars. We saw him play well in Chicago, Olympia Fields on that tough track. And he's put some good finishes up, man, against elite competition here lately. So I think Lanto was very interesting. And then kind of my wild card down there, I'm not even going to try to say his last name, but the kid, Rasmus Hogard, there at 6,800. He's 19 years old, and he's won twice on the European Tour since December. The kid is a phenom. He's just young enough and kind of brash enough, maybe, if that's the word you want to use, to just not realize the gravity of the tournament he's playing in and go out there and play really well. So he's a wild card if you're just looking for a kind of a contrarian punt play in a GPP. Rasmus Hogard. So those are my 3 guys there below 7K that I like.
Okay, Joe, who's your you ready for my wildfire?
Let's go. It's not Westy. I can't believe it.
I've already mentioned him. It's got to be Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen is just prime for a top 5 finish here. Luis Oosthuizen, I don't know how many. He's probably got 6 or 8 top 5s in majors. I don't see why it's not going to happen again here. He's lost in a playoff at Augusta, won at the British. So that's my man, 7,600, Luis Oosthuizen. I also like Brendan Todd, man. Brendan Todd is there every week. I
just worry about his length, man, which we said before. Yeah. He can overcome it, but in order to do that, he's so short. He's going to hit fairways, which is going to be a big leg up this week. He's probably not going to have to contend with the rough very often, but he's going to have a lot of like 200 yards, like a 185 in. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on his long irons. He's going to have to hit his long irons really well, and he's going to have to make a ton of putts, which we know he can do. But that's what I feel like Todd's going to have to do just to kind of overcome the lack of distance off the tee. Basically, he's going to have to play perfect. It's like a lot of these guys, which we see Webb do it consistently. But that's basically what Webb has to do all the time. He's just such a great long iron player and such a great putter that he's able to do it more consistently than probably anybody on the tour. But that's what Todd's going to have to do, is just make a ton of putts, hit his long irons really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like he goes in streaks with those irons too, and putter.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
On the way out, Joe, tell us about Rotoballer. How much longer we got to get in there on that price?
Yeah, man, we can hop in. We're going to take you through the Masters. Got the PGA DFS Bible up today. You can go check it out. It's members only, premium members only. You can sign up for that using promo code NICE, NICE. I talk about every guy in the field down to 7K. Then we highlight some guys under 7K. But it's the most in-depth thing that I do. I do it for all the majors. So I hope you guys will check that out. If you're already a premium member, definitely check it out. If you're not, sign up. Josh Bennett did an amazing course breakdown for Wingfoot. Spencer's killing it as always. He's who you want to check out on your bets. And Tommy Bell's got some value plays over there. We also got great football articles. Anything you need to know as far as season long or DFS, just check out Rotoballer. You can use that promo code NICE on football as well. Still get a discount. So go check it out.
All right, Joe. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Let's get out here and win this money, buddy.
Let's do it, man. It's a big week. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Really pumped to watch it. Really pumped to put some rosters in. Let's go, man. Let's get it.
Let's do it. Good talking to you, buddy. See you.
All right. See you, man.
Already hit 3 in the leg. It's gone.